Hello again. Let's have a look at the reasoning on today, Tuesday the 28th of April, which is all about fractions, decimals and percentages. And first off, we need to compare a given fraction, decimal and percentage using less than, greater than or equal to. And first off, we've got 60%, 0.6 and 3/5. My strategy on all of these, I'm going to show the fraction, the decimal and the percentage as its equivalent decimal and then compare those. So on this one, we may know, or we should know, that 60% is 0.6. It's obviously already 0.6. We might know that 3/5 is also equal to 0.6, but the strategy to convert a fraction to a decimal, the denominator on the outside, remember, they remembered their umbrella, so they can stand outside the bus stop, and the numerator goes inside. They haven't got their umbrella, so they need to stand inside the bus stop. Decimal points are in line above each other. And then I put 3 zeros for carrying any remainders. 3 zeros means I can show it up to 3 decimal places, and I've got enough then to compare it to. Ollie agrees. Good. Ooh, it's yawny doggy. Blimey. How many 5s are in 3? 0, remainder 3. 5's into 30, 6, nothing left. So there is my proof that they are all equal. Next up, we've got 24%, which is 0.24. And we know that a quarter is 0.25. Again, if it's not a fraction we know the decimal equivalent to, we can use short division to convert them. We should have got that to compare. 0.24 is bigger than 0.23, 0.25 is bigger than 0.24. Next up, 0.376 as the equivalent decimal. We need to convert 3/8. Which again we might know, become more familiar with the decimal equivalents for eighths. We're going to get an answer of 0.375, but to show you where it's come from, 3 remainder 6, because 8 times 3 is 24, 6 left over, and be 7, which is 56, remainder 4, be 5. There we go. Like we were yesterday, add a 0 there, so they've now all got 3 decimal places. So I'm looking here, 0.376 is going to be bigger than 0.375. Put it that way. Here, I've got 2/10, 3/10. So we should look like that. Next up, we're looking at Eva, who is saving money. And we've got to estimate our answers using knowledge of fractions, decimals and percentages and explain why you've chosen the month that she saved the most money. Well, first off, I know, just well from up here as well, that 60%, 3/5 of £20. I can work that out mentally. I'm going to divide it by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to make a note of that. I don't need to estimate it. I've got an accurate answer. In February, saves 0.4 of her £10 pocket money, which is 40%. 40% of 10 is going to be £4. Not a great month for saving in February. In March, she saves 45% of her £40 pocket money. Now here, this is where I am going to use an estimation, just because the question is which month did she save the most money. 45% is nearly half, nearly 50%. If it was 50%, it'd be £20. So it's definitely going to be March that she saves the most, because as an estimate, I'm going to say it's about £18, £19 that she saves. The symbol for an estimation is a wavy equals sign. So I'm going to put that there, which I like that. It's not, I always think of the equal to sign being like, I'm certain. And then the wavy equals sign, like, no, I think it's about that, so it's making a wavy equals symbol. March is my answer, because she saves nearly half of it, and also that month she gets the most. Next up, there we go. We've got strategies here to find 5%. So we can divide it by 10. We know how to do that. Divide left, Mr. DL. One jump, and then halve it. And we can do all of that mentally. So, divide it by 10. One jump to the left. 14. Divided by 2 is 7. There we go. Sorry, pen. Divided by 2, 7. Again, decimal points hide in there. One jump to the left to divide by 10. 26 divided by 2 is 13. Don't be thrown, it says 1 metre 80 centimetres, so I've converted that into 180 centimetres. Divide by 10, one jump left, 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9 centimetres. How else could we work out 5%? Well, one strategy would be to divide by 100, give us 1%, then times that by 5. We could find 50% by dividing by 2, then divide that by 10, and give us 5%. We're going to use some of those strategies now to calculate 15% of 60 metres, 35% of 300 grams, 65% of 20 pounds. So first off, I've got 15% of 60 metres. So I'm going to partition that, if you like, into 10%. One jump left is 6. 5%, I can use the strategy from up here, half of 10%, half of 3, half of 6 is 3, to get 9 metres when I add those together. Because 10% and 5% will give me 15%, so I add my answers to make 9%. Need to find 35% of 300 grams, so I'm going to do 10%, one jump left, 30. I'm going to need that 3 times, because that's 10%, 10%, 10%. So far I've got 90 grams. If I halve 10%, half of 30 is 15 grams. That'll give me the 5%. Add those together to get 105 grams. Here, 65%, well, I'm going to turn that into 50%, 10%, and 5%. If I add those together, look, I get 65%. So if I find the answers to those and add them up, I'll get my 65%. So 50% of 20 is 10. 10% of 20, one jump left, is 2. 5%, half my 10% answer is 1. Oh, I put 10 or 100, didn't I? I thought that was a very small answer. No turns. 103. Oh, it was 10. Sorry, I was thinking 200. It was £20. Giddy ants. 10%. £10 for 50%. 10% is 2. 5% is 1. There we go. £13 is the answer. Lovely. Next up, tricky one. I'm going to show you how I would use a bar model to solve this. So a golf club has 200 members. 58% of the members are male. And the first question just says how many male members are in the golf club. So we're going to work out 58% of 200. Here, so we're now going to do 0.58 times 200. 8 times 0, 8 times 0, 8 times 2. 5 times 0, 5 times 0, 5 times 2. Add them together. 6, 1, 1. Don't forget 2 decimal places, so it's 116. Remember, we're talking about members. These are people. We're definitely not going to get a decimal answer. So we're going to add that in there. 116 members are male. That means the rest must be female. And half, 50%, of the female members are children. And we're then asked how many female children are in the golf club. So, what I can do then, if I know there's 200 altogether, I can take the 116 away from 200, and that will give me how many are female. You could also work it out as a percentage and do 42% of 200, because the rest of the 100%. I think this subtraction is going to be easier though. 9 take away 1 is 8, 1 take away 1 is 0, 84. And just to check, 84 add 116 is 200. Half are children, half are adults. So if I halve 84, half of 80 is 40, half of 4 is 2. So 42 must be children, 42 must be adults. So there's my final answer to that last question of how many female children there are. And that's reasoning done.